Hi, welcome to my new vlog. This is the November vlog, I guess, even though it's already November 11th. I've read nothing, and there's a very good reason for that. Her name is Spleen. Okay, look at the camera, honey. Look. There you go. Say hi, Spleen. Say hi. Yeah. Yeah. This is Spleen. I brought Spleen home last Friday. It's currently Thursday, so we've had almost a week with this little baby. Okay, bye, Spleen. Most of that week has been spent running around at top speed because Spleen has a great deal of energy and is so sweet. It was kind of a whim. Like, not really a whim. I've been thinking about it for a while. Good long while. But like, honestly, going last Friday was kind of a whim. I was like, I'll just introduce myself to some cats. And then Spleen came home with me. Her shelter name was Siobhan. I don't know how anyone could look at this tiny demonic creature and call it Siobhan. She's definitely a Spleen. She's over there drinking out of her giant dog water bowl that I had to get her because I had to find something that she couldn't knock over. And the giant dog water bowl was the best thing that's worked so far because she likes to knock over water a lot and chew on cords and eat feet and eat heads and just pounce on you at all times and pounce on everything that exists, and I love her. Yeah, Mima is not taking this particularly well so far. That's been a process. It's an ongoing process and will be for a long time. We've not introduced them yet. So far, I have kept Spleen and Mima apart. Mima continues, "Aw, chirpy baby." Mima continues to hiss, which is not ideal, but that's my Spleen baby. I just figured I ought to introduce y'all to Spleen since she will be appearing as frequently as Mima does in these vlogs and on Instagram. Yeah. She's a wild child. Hello, it is the 2-week adoptiversary of getting Spleen. It's November 19th. Yeah, the amount of reading I have done in the last 2 weeks basically amounts to this. So, not very much. Making some progress. I've been trying to, she's running around like a demon, if you can hear her. I've been trying to focus some on reading. It's just, she's a very active little kitty, and I have a full-time job, and it does make it a little more difficult. But I did start reading If You Knew My Sister by Michelle Adams. This is an adult thriller. Basically, this woman was given away by her parents when she was 3. She had an older sister who they kept, and her sister is a psychopath, basically. We've not reached that, reveal yet. She's still like, oh, why did my parents give me up? And the reason is her older sister is a psychopath and probably tried to kill her when she was 3 years old. Realistically, I assume that's where the story's going, because that's the obvious, I don't really like it, at all. The first page, I hated it. I don't like the writing style. I don't like the characters. I think it all feels very flat and I don't know. It doesn't make sense. She met this dude at the gym and her sister decided to go off and get laid with this other random dude. Because that's what you do apparently. Oh well. And they went on a coffee date because her sister was her ride and abandoned her, and she just started telling this dude her whole life story. She has a boyfriend who lives with her of however many years, and it was just she was just telling this random dude, she's like, yeah, I don't know why my parents gave me up. They kept my sister. It makes me feel so unloved. And I'm like, you met this guy literally 5 minutes ago. It didn't make sense. But I do like some of the flashbacks. She talks about her childhood a lot, and it's really interesting. She had a very negative childhood, and the way that it discusses it, and like how she was like not a good kid. She literally like stabbed a pencil through a girl's hand when she was like 6 or 7 or something, and like it's like you feel sorry for her and you understand why she's doing it, but it doesn't take away from her negativity, or like her like that's a terrible thing to do, but it's like you understand the motivation. I really like that part. It's just like that's a small part of the book, and it's really unfortunate that's the only thing I like. But the writing is so just like over the top, and just like, let me see if I can find an example. Her silence in the wake of my request is unnerving, and it makes my attempt at certainty feel like bad judgment. Like, it's all just a little bit, like, overblown and just, like, dramatic, you know? When, like, it doesn't need to be. Like, some things are dramatic, some things should be dramatic. But a lot of things are just, like, just happen. Be like, it'll have a sentence like, it was a warm summer morning with the wind blowing through the trees. And it's like, no one really enjoys reading stuff like that in a book where like it doesn't fit. And I don't know, I don't like it. I didn't like it from the first page. What happened on the first page that I didn't like? The buzzing of my telephone is like the scuttling of a cockroach underneath the bed. Yeah, it's all written like that. Like, that's the first. I look back and see Antonio sleeping by my side, naked save for a white sheet draped over his hip like an unfastened toga. His breath glides in and out. Like, his breath glides and like an unfastened toga. It's just like constant descriptions and comparisons that are entirely unnecessary, and I find it annoying. This is an uncorrected proof, so like I'm really hoping that, my hope is that she changed it in the final version, but people don't just rewrite entire books after like the proof comes out. Usually at that point, the main things that are changed are like covers and formatting and like some minor editing stuff and like basic things, not like rewriting whole books. That doesn't usually happen. But we can hope. I don't know. I really don't like this, and I hate reviewing uncorrected proofs because I do feel like there's a chance that things were changed, but like I highly doubt she rewrote this entire book and rewrote these characters, and like I don't think so. So yeah, I'm really not a fan, but I'll try to get through it. And then I think after this, I'm gonna try to make more progress on the arcs I got from my old job, because I don't know, it feels like bad vibes sitting on my shelf since that job fired me. And I feel like I would like them gone. At least like some of them, you know? Like, I'm definitely gonna keep some of the ones that I like. Like, if I read it and I think it's a really good book, I'll keep it. I'm not just like buying a whole new copy, but like I feel like I've got like 8 or 9 of them, just like arcs that I picked up from work, and I don't know, it's bad vibes. I kind of want to like purge that, but I want to read them first. So like that's probably going to be like a project for the next several months of like not reading only those books, but like kind of making them a priority, because yeah, purge the bad vibes. It's been kind of a productive day. I filmed a video the other day. I filmed an unhaul, so I can finally purge those books that have been sitting there for months just waiting to leave. So I filmed that unhaul, and I just finished editing it, and it's like more than 30 minutes long, which is super unnecessary, but like, oh well. I had a lot of books. There were like 20 books or something, which, you know, still shouldn't have been more than 30 minutes, but it is what it is. And now I am making food while I wait for it to export, and gonna try to get some reading done. Still working on this. This is just such, I've made progress. I'm almost halfway through, and like she still has not realized that her parents gave her up because her sister's a psychopath who probably tried to murder her once. Like, and I don't understand why, because they've literally discussed the fact that her sister murdered their dog, spent time in a psych ward as a young child, and like the parents didn't want her locked up again. She's drugged people and set them up to be raped, and the sister knows about this, and like the father is afraid of her and the sister knows this, and she still just has not come to the conclusion that her sister is a psychopath, even though she constantly talks about how evil she is. And like, I get like not realizing obvious things sometimes in characters, like that's a thing, but like this is obvious to the point of like the character should really know. And I'm not even halfway through yet, so I really don't know what the rest of this book is going to be. But I'm not a fan. This is gonna be 2 stars unless like something happens. And the only way this book could really be saved, and I'm not even sure this would save it, is if the other sister, like the narrator, also turns out to be a psychopath. That might be an interesting plot twist, and it might be going there. But I don't know. Again, I'm only halfway through-ish, and I'm just trying to think of things that might make this a better book than the book I'm actually reading. Spleen. So I just filmed the first part of my book haul, and this is what my floor looks like. It's November 26th. I've not been good at keeping up with the vlog this month. Unfortunate. I've not been good at reading, but I did adopt a new cat, so November was a win. Huzzah. I've also been better about keeping up with BookTube itself. I say better. It's been slow. I'm trying to do a video a week. My goal was 3 videos by the end of the year, and then I did those 3. So now my goal is a video a week. And I'm keeping up with that. I filmed a book haul today. There's books all over the floor, and Spleen just fell asleep in the middle of them, so it was super cute. And I had a bit of lunch, and now I'm taking a break to read before I clean dishes like an adult. I finished whatever that thriller was. That was such a nothing book. I can't even like, I wish I'd hated it, because I'd rather hate a book than just feel nothing about it. And it's already like completely faded from my memory. But I am reading The Interestings by Meg Wolitzer. This is about a group of kids who went to camp together when they were like 15, 16, and then it's about their lives. They're all like artsy kids, and then it's about like how as they become adults, some of them like become very famous artists, and some of them have to like give up their art in order to do like realistic things, and it just sort of follows them through, I don't know, decades and decades of their lives. I'm only a little bit in. I read the first chapter, so I'm like 40 pages in. And it's definitely the kind of book that's gonna take some time to decide if I like it or not. Like, it's not bad yet, but it's not good either. It's kind of just like, you gotta figure out what's going on and who these people are. Because there are 6 characters. There's like the main girl, Jules. And she's the main character, and then the group has like 5 other people, and it's just a lot to keep track of, so it's gonna take a minute. But like, this is a thick book, so I'm really hoping it's the kind of slow drama like character study thing that I love, but we'll see. It's definitely gonna take a minute to get into. Spleen, what are you doing? Haven't updated in a minute because I'm still working on The Interestings. I like it. I do. It's just one of those books that I like, and that I kind of knew going in that it might take me a minute to get into, but I was really gonna like it because it is just like this slow character study of this group of friends, and it's about like how art impacted their lives, and some of them became artists and some of them did not, and their friendships grow and they age. And I mean, I was always going to like this book. I'm not quite done yet, but I'm like very near to the end. I have like 50 pages left, and I'm, to be completely honest, don't super love the ending and where it appears to be going. Like, not in like a it's going someplace bad, but it's just like less interesting than the rest of the book. But I kind of feel that with books like this a lot. Like, I really, really love them, but it often feels like they're so like overarching in terms of like the characters and their lives that like they feel a little bit like pointless, almost, like not pointless in a bad way, but just like there isn't a specific plot. It's just a character study about them. So when you get to the end and you have to wrap it up, it doesn't feel quite as like purposeful as in a book with like a heavy plot. I don't know. I mean, I still have 50 pages left. Maybe it'll wrap up in a really great way, but I'm just feeling less interested. Whereas like for the beginning was a little bit to get into just because it was, I don't know, number of characters, you have to learn who everyone is, and the point is the characters, so that like you don't care about the story until you care about the characters, which takes getting to know the characters, which again, pretty standard. And the whole middle was just like fascinating though. Like I just always wanted to be reading this book, and now I'm just kind of like, it could be over now, and it's not. And but that might also just be because it's taken me a minute to read. I don't usually like spending so much time on a book. I enjoy it more when I read it like within a couple of days, like a very short period. But it's so good. It's just like, it's one of those books that the second I heard about it, I just knew it was like my kind of book. So I am happy that I read it, and definitely like we'll be picking up more of her books if they're like this, because really lovely. I did finish The Interestings. Bravo. I'd like to take back everything I said about the ending, because I ugly cried for like 40 minutes straight at like midnight over this piece of garbage. I hate this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. I mean, I'll take back everything I said, because there was definitely a good portion of the book where like it was valid, and there was a section where I was getting kind of bored of it. But again, I ugly cried and it was amazing. So yeah, definitely just one of those books. It's like 100% my kind of book. And then today I filmed Huzzah. I filmed the September wrap up for like a year ago. Still trying to catch up on those. But I also got to catch up on my Goodreads reviews before I film any more of those belated wrap-ups. So that's lovely. But I did film it. Progress. And I'm now reading Girls Like Us, a memoir by Rachel Lloyd. It's about sex trafficking, mostly of minors. She's a former victim of sex trafficking. And it's sort of like 1/3 her story in her past, 1/3 her current work with girls. She works for a nonprofit that helps girls who are being trafficked. And then 1/3 just like general information and research on trafficking. So it's interesting. I don't think it's like the best book in the world just in terms of like book things. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Just like she's not a writer. And I think that's kind of clear when you are reading it, that like it's not being written by a writer. She's competent, but she's not like a writer. She's not writing this because she writes, she's writing this because she has something to say. And it's important and interesting and fine, but I think for me it's lacking something in that regard. And there's a lot of just like, I feel like this book is meant to shock. And I don't even mean that in a negative way. I think she's intentionally hitting on like, she'll have a paragraph or she'll have like 2 pages where she'll just list girls' names and like a horrible thing that's happened to them. She'll be like, oh, this is just like, it's really easy to like get girls into the industry who've already been abused, like Tiffany who went through this, or Delilah who went through this, or Melanie who went through this, and like just list like 8 or 10 girls and like some abuse they went through. And it feels like it's meant to shock in order to like get people's attention and get people to care and get people to do something. And I understand that, but I think that type of writing, now that I'm like decently into it, not my favorite, but I think it's a good book. I think it's a serviceable book, and I think if you're looking to learn something, it could be interesting, but it's a little bit dated. I think it's like more than a decade old at this point, so I'm glad I'm reading it, but I don't know that it's one I'll be holding on to or one that I would really like highly recommend to people. When I started filming this clip, I literally tried to press the record button like over my shoulder where it would be in the frame, if it was in the frame and not on my screen. So that's how today's going. Lovely. It's dark, so I have to use the little reading light that I have in this room because I only have one main light. Lighting in here is kind of iffy because it's winter and it gets dark so early. I can basically film between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. and any time outside of that, because of the natural lighting, it starts getting a little bit dicey. So really, I just need to buy like a second big light for this room. I have a ring light, but like it's currently connected to the tripod, which I have to use to film like sit down videos. It's fine like right now, but because of my glasses, I can't have the ring light like straight on. I have to have it at an angle so there's not just like a huge glare, which doesn't work when it's the only tripod I have. So really, I just need like I need a phone attachment for my other tripod, I think. That would solve all my problems, and yet I'm lazy. I finished Girls Like Us by Rachel Lloyd. I was reading this only a couple of days, I think. It was fine. It was good. It was more fine than good, I think. Hello? Someone's being a demon. Be a demon? Yeah. Oh. She's being a demon, which is her usual state of being. I finished Girls Like Us. I should go back to holding that. Gave it 3 stars. It was fine. I don't know. One of my issues with it was kind of that it was... she split the book pretty evenly between her memoir and her history being sex trafficked, her current work with a nonprofit helping sex trafficking victims, and just like general information on sex trafficking. So like there wasn't like one main focus out of that. It was just kind of like all of it combined, and it sort of left me feeling like there wasn't enough depth or enough information on any of those topics. Like I really kind of wish she'd picked one to focus on and then just use the other 2 to like support it instead of just like equal time on everything. I didn't love that structure, and I think there were some things we disagree with just in essence, but most of this book was not about those things. Most of this book was about her working with victims of sex trafficking, and I think we were like 100% on every time she discussed those. But there were some other topics that was kind of like, not sure how I feel about you saying that, but that was fine. Like, it doesn't really matter. I probably would have been bugged if it'd been like a main part of the book, but it wasn't. This was fine. I think if you're looking for a book like this, if you like books like this, if you want like a memoir that does deal with a lot of information about sex trafficking, especially of like young women, young girls. She deals with some adults, but it's mostly like, most of the people she deals with are between the ages of like 12 and 22, I think. Good book. It was moving. Like, I'm glad I read it, but I don't think this is one I'm gonna keep on my shelf. I feel like I'm pretty okay just like unhauling this one. Maybe someone else can like find it in the little free library when I take it, like find it, enjoy it, you know, all of that. Beyond that, I really just need to focus on editing the other book haul I did, because that was like almost 2.5 hours of raw footage, which is rough to edit. I'm about 40 minutes almost into editing, maybe 45, but it's after about 30 straight minutes of editing, I get a little tired. Like, if it's just, I can't stare at myself for that long. I don't know how other people feel about that, but I definitely struggle. Like, I can sit down and edit a video of me, but if it's like longer than 30 minutes of raw footage, I start getting tired. And if it's longer than like 45, I just kind of give up at a point. It's gonna take me a minute to get through. So I'm trying to get that done, because my last video that I had scheduled was posted today, which means I now don't have anything scheduled and I don't have anything that's like finished editing, and I don't want to post the haul next Thursday, so I have to finish editing the haul and then I have to edit something else, and that's gonna be fun. I mean, it's Friday today, so I have like 6 days, but between work and everything, it sometimes takes me a minute to get through booktubey things. But yeah, I just wanted to update my final thoughts on Girls Like Us. It was fine. I would recommend it, but not my favorite thing. And show you Spleen, because she's being a little baby kitty. Ah, okay. Please. Spleen.